Inktober. Inktober is one of my favorite holidays. It's a holiday for me, except it's all filled with work and pain. But I love pen and ink. Specifically, I love ballpoint pen. I love Copics. I love Micron. I love anything with black and white, with splashes of color sometimes, but normally just black and white. Two of them, I did my own prompts. So for 2019, I did phobia inspired prompts. And then this year, I did plant related prompts. So I just did a different plant each day, different phobia each day for this one. I'm going to go through my thoughts behind each piece or how I interpreted the prompt. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name's Rose. I'm a horror artist. I love pen and ink. It's my favorite medium. And if you like speed paints, random shit, I kind of post whatever I'm feeling that day. Like, I not only do art, but I sculpt, I do animation, I do a whole bunch of things. Kind of like, I like to jump around. I can't sit still. So yeah, let's just get into it. My first Inktober I did in 2018, and I did the official prompt that Inktober has. I also tried to do Goretober at the same time. I don't know why I did that. There was too much to do a drawing each day and also try to do another prompt at the same time. Not a good idea. And I also did not label any of these, but I do believe this is 2018. So this one, the official prompt list, usually I tried to do the official one, but there was a couple years, like the next year, that I was just not a fan of. This was very early in drawing in general. I think this was the first year of college, because I just graduated 2017, first or second year of college, where I just started drawing in general in a more serious capacity, if that makes sense. I had drawing lessons at this point, but I still didn't understand anything about anything. I also I was into horror, but I wasn't really drawing it as much. But Inktober really let me get into more horror stuff. Anyway, so the first day was Poisonous. Kind of had an interesting idea. One of these days, I do want to redraw a lot of these. I feel like my line art has gotten a lot better, although I'm not too much a fan. Pen and ink is all line art, but I kind of don't enjoy as much doing line art specifically. I know that sounds weird, but I love the messiness that you can do with ink. And early on in these Inktobers, I think I focused a lot on line art because that's what I thought you needed to do. I was also more of my anime era, although I do still kind of have that, but I have such blocky people. This was Tranquil, by the way. This is day 2. This was Tranquil. And then I tried to go into a sketchy. I guess these were done with different things. This looks like a big, thicker marker, and this looks like I went 2 microns. This one was for Roasted. Which is kind of funny. I actually still really like this drawing, even though she doesn't have the right anatomy at all, but I think it's just really funny. Her face. This one was Spell, I think. This one was not part of Inktober. I literally have no idea what this is. I actually have no idea. Because Spell looks like this one. This one looks like Spell. A little tiny frog, a witch's hand, putting him in there. This one was Chicken? I don't know if I did chicken. Yeah, don't be a chicken. Okay. This makes sense. I was trying to think out of the box with a lot of these prompts. So some of these, the concepts are fun, but the execution's not great. This one was Drooling. I like the hair from this, actually. This feels like I've started rendering pen and ink a little bit better, trying to get shadows in there. I probably spent a lot more time in this. Kind of grotesque though, a little bit. This one was Exhausted. She's exhausted from being in a box, or maybe she's in a box because she's exhausted. This one was Star, for the prompt Star, obviously. It's a dancer. It's a dancer. I do tend to feel like I draw a lot of dancing prompts. Not prompts, but drawings in general, just because I love the flow of movement. I love dance. Drawing, animating, any of that with movement, just so fun. This one's Precious. Enough said, I'm a League of Legends fan, and this is Annie with Tibbers. She is so precious. I actually cosplayed Goth Annie in 2015 or something like that. Back when Summoners Con was a thing. I don't know if anyone went through Summoners Con, but It's no longer a thing. I think it was like only for 3 years or something. Really fun though. It was like small gathering. This is flowing. Wow, this pages are actually not looking too good. This is all dirty, but as one would say, I just unloaded all the ink from the pen onto this page. I feel like I should have just gotten, what I use now is like I use an actual like ink paintbrush and then like dip it into the ink and do this, but this is clearly a pen that I just sketched out. This must have taken me forever to do, but I really like the idea. The flowing, it just came out with like the blood flowing down. Just another out of the box idea. I like that. This one was for cruel. Enough said. It's a bit cruel to like spike an apple full of stuff. Like you don't want to eat that. This one is whale. I guess I just like didn't want to do a whale, so I just did whale bones, but I also didn't know what whale bones looked like. I probably looked it up, but this does not look right. It's also just so minimalistic. There's not as much going on. Day 13 was guarded. I really wanted to do a girl that is trying to like guard herself from, I guess, the harm of others by saying no. I was doing a lot of drawing in between these pages. The next one is clock. So I guess I tried to do this drawing. Like, you're wasting your time crumpling up the clock into the trash can, but I guess I didn't like that. Oh, Copic markers come into the mix. This is the time that you lose. Just her on a cross, and this is supposed to be, I think, a grave with time on the tombstone. Actually, this drawing, I have a drawing that I did last year that looks very similar, like a very similar shadow person, because it visits me in my dreams. And so this shadow monster kind of like makes its recurring every year. But this is supposed to be weak, being overtaken by themselves. The next one's angular. I guess I wanted to do someone with a lot of angles, and I guess a clown came to my mind. I don't know. Definitely not anatomically correct, but even then, I would draw a lot of like malnourished characters and anatomy just because I really liked how creepy it looked. So I still draw a lot of like very skinny peoples. This one is swollen. Yeah, this one's swollen. I don't like this piece. We don't have to talk about it. It's probably I was too busy that day, but I didn't want to like spend too much time on it. This one was bottle. This is day 18. This one's easy. You bottle yourself up with all your emotions, bottle them up inside. I don't think it's very pretty drawing. I do think it meant a lot to me at the time. Yeah, I think this meant a lot to me at the time, but it definitely isn't a very pretty drawing. I use Copic markers, but the shading is just not great. I actually really like this drawing. I will one day. I've been saying this for like years now, but I do want to redraw this one day. I think it would be really fun because I don't even have any of these anatomy, and it's not even anatomically help help you guys know what I'm talking about. Anatomically, there we go, we did it. So this is day 19. Yeah, day 19. Scorched. One side of her is scorched. Kind of looks like Two-Face, huh? This one was breakable. It's just a little doll that's breakable. I really actually like this drawing too. It's just so like simple, and I'm obsessed with dolls. A project that I have coming up is about a doll, which is really fun. This one's Drain. It's like a gluttony inspired, draining the life out of people. I like the concept of this for sure, but like I said, my drawing skills were just not there at the time. So she just looks like if I were to redo this, I would make like this form more interesting, and like I don't know, the composition's okay. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not the greatest. This one is expensive. Let me try to think of why it's expensive. Because your heart is priceless, maybe? That's probably what I was thinking about. Someone's giving their heart out. It's priceless. Day 23 was muddying the waters. It's probably what I was thinking. I also love doing water. A lot of my drawings have water in it, but like water with pen and ink, I feel like I struggle every time, but I love how it looks. Trying to get like the feeling of water without drawing every single like ripple. Like here, I've like drawn almost everything, which is fine, but like now I would definitely make it less intense. This one's chop. It's very self-explanatory. They're chopping their hand off. kind of getting into more of the horror stuff. This hand is trying to foreshorten so bad and it is not working out. Day 25 was prickly. Basically, the whole idea behind this piece is you're being pricked by a whole bunch of things that are being thrown at you. You know, life throws so many things at you. That's kind of like how I wanted to show that at the time. Going through all of these, I was going through like a lot. Some of these I think I did take a little personal, but yeah. You gotta overcome all the things that are prickling you down. This one is Stretch. It's like one of the medieval torture machines where they would tie your hands and feet and then they would crank these and like slowly pull you apart. Another way of torture, not even torture, but like, I don't know if it was a method of torture or like execution, they would tie your limbs and then to horses, and then the horses would go in opposite ways and you'd be like torn in half. Oh no. Why do I know that? This one was Thunder. Yep, just a creepy guy with some thunder behind him. Day 28 was Gift. Just a fun little gift for you. You know how it'd be. Head in a box. 29 is Double. This is actually a really interesting idea. I think it was supposed to be like a slime monster thing with two heads, and one is an angel, one is a demon. I do like the dichotomy of doing an angel like demon in a lot of pieces. That has come up in a lot of pieces for me. Day number 30 is Jolt. Another lightning one. This time being jolted with electricity. And of course, the last one, day 31, is Slice. And I did a cake that says you won with a question mark, and it's just like a weird ass cake with a big slice. Probably not that tasty, but you know. I was feeling like I did win, but did I truly win after that? This was the first year of Inktober, so I did complete it like perfectly. I don't think I skipped any days, but it's mainly because like at this point drawing was not I wasn't like great at it, so I kind of just did whatever. But it's kind of fun to see like I wasn't really thinking about composition or anything like that. I was just drawing to like do a prompt and like just to practice. And you can see like at this time, it's just I couldn't draw very well anyway. Okay, but that is 2018 Inktober. The next year, I didn't do it in a sketchbook, but I did instead on pieces of paper. These are not in order, but I will tell you like what the fears are. So this year I didn't do a prompt list that was official. I just did my own prompt list, and they were all based on fears. So this was the fear of touch. This is actually still one of my favorite pieces that I've made. And I got into more messy. These are all with microns, but I got into like a more messy style. I was trying to get away from the line art. This was the fear of having a fear. This is the fear of people. So this one I really like because I do have a little bit of social anxiety. When I go out, I am so conscious of the people around me, and if they're looking at me, they might not be like even having me on their mind, but for some reason I feel like everyone is looking and judging at me, and so like it makes me super conscious, and that's why I don't like going outside. That's why I stay home. That's why I don't go outside. This is the fear of spiders. This was actually the first day, so I should have shown this first, but the spiders coming out of the mouth and the eyes, it just like inhabits like all the weirdness of horror stuff. Also, the anatomy is like not terrible, although it's not great, but I don't hate it. You know, like I think the weird hands, it does it justice. Oh, this is not an Inktober. However, here's a crab. This is the fear of falling. Someone trying to grip for their life. I also tried to do like weird perspectives in some of these drawings because I just like how those look. I mean, it gives, of course, that creepy-esque like vibe, like, oh, something isn't right. Same thing with this one. This is the fear of mirrors. So her reflection is she's being mimicked, but in all the mirrors, there is shadow people coming out of it. Ooh, look, it's the return of the shadow peoples. Very common trope, I think, but I do love a cliche. This is the fear of dolls. I don't have this fear, however, dolls are hella creepy. I love them though. It's not supposed to be Billy, however, I can see how some people would think with the cheeks how they could be Billy. But it's basically like the doll has taken over the person, sort of turned the person into, the doll has switched places with the person, and now she's trapped in the doll. Although the hand is not great, I feel like because it's not a focal point, I got away with the hand not being great. Because you just look at the face anyway. This is the fear of germs. It's such a common fear, but I thought it'd be funny if someone is so fearful of getting germs that they wash their hands with such high chemicals to disintegrate the germs that they're disintegrating their own hands. This one's probably the most intense drawing that I've done for this. This is the fear of beautiful people. So the backstory between this one, some of them have backstories, some of them I kind of just did on a whim. But the backstory for this one is she was once beautiful, but because she has the fear of beautiful people, she's so scared of herself that she ends up marring herself. And so that is what she's doing right now. This was the fear of drowning, turn of the water. I do like how this water came out. However, it's a lot. Like there's a lot happening. I feel like if I were to like tone it down a little bit, then the hair being wild around her would come out more. I do like the perspective, but she's got like little sausage fingers. I don't know if you can see that, but she's got sausage fingers. This is one of my favorites. Some of these, by the way, I turned into like prints to sell in my shop. This is one of them, but I think only like 10 of them out of the 31 actually made it because, like I said, I was in school at the time. I didn't have that much time in some of them. I just was like so tired that I was like, I can't spend enough time on this one, especially at the end. At the end, I started being like, oh, I'm what have I done to myself? But this one's a fear of snakes. I love this one. The hands are not correct, but I think they're good, actually. I always had a hard time drawing snakes. Nowadays, when you are on digital, there's so many brushes that help you with like the scales of snakes. And I'm so jealous. I wish I had that during this time. I mean, it wouldn't specifically have helped me as a traditional artist, but snakes are so difficult. It's not difficult as much as they just take a long time. This is the fear of sunlight, I believe. Oh no, fear of sleep. Oh, I can take it out right now. I just thought of sleep and then yawned so big. 2 p.m. too. Get it together. Rose, get it together. This is a fear of sleep. She's so scared of sleeping that she has basically clipped her eyes open. Her teeth are so bad. How is her teeth even doing that? This one's fun. But it's the second year in a row where I didn't need to do this. I think I like used too small of a pen when I could have just like painted black and like made my life so much easier. Okay, this is the fear of storms. Some of these fears are crazy that I picked. When I was doing the research of different fears, some of them, perhaps I should not have picked, but it's fine. This is fun. I just like black and white, and I think it's just a fun, like, difference between these two. Like, they're so different. I don't know why I don't just turn this all over. Okay. Watch, I'm gonna find and there's gonna be one that's upside down again. This is the fear of sunlight. I did want in this series to pick like the same character going through all these phobias. I think some of them she looks like a different person in, but she definitely has inspired vibes of Wednesday. This is the fear of failure. Oh, looks like I drew a test on the back to see what I would draw, and then I ended up going with this. She's branding herself as a failure. That is literally so me. Every artist ever brands themselves a failure. Oh my god, I literally just turned you around. Get it together, guys. This is the fear of working, I think. Yeah, it's the fear of working. You're being chained to your computer. Being have to like work 24/7 to put food on your table, just not being able to have time for yourself. Oh, you know what? I think this is the fear of falling, and the other one was fear of heights. So the one I showed earlier, that one's the fear of heights. I don't know why, they're so similar, but this one's actively falling with a weird perspective. And then the other one was just, she didn't want to fall because she's scared of heights. This one is the fear of love. Yep. Some of these, yeah, this one, like, it didn't make it. There was too much going on. I like the idea of it. Like, it's a fun idea of someone being so in love that they will willingly give their heart to you. That's actually very similar to the last year, the price list. But some of these, like, maybe one day I'll redraw them. I don't know. My art style has changed so much between these. I do messy work, but it's not as messy anymore. Like, I think the forms are more thought out of. This is the fear of children. I literally don't fear children, but don't love them either. This one was the fear of death. Everyone's got the fear of death, I think. Where do you go after you die? Who knows? Who knows? Oh, this is another one that has a story. This is the fear of men. So this one is like, it was an extensive story that means nothing, but basically this is supposed to be like her wedding dress. This is supposed to be like her like lover or husband or whatever. Something went on. I don't it's been so long that I'm like, I don't even know what it was, but something went on and she had a bad falling out, and because of that she hates men now. And she's got like this kill list of men that she's killing, basically like a serial killer. Anyway, fear of men. This is the fear of school. And, you know, people who have the fear of school like to spend most of their time out of school. And at lunchtime, they would, instead of going and hanging out in the auditorium, they would go to the restroom and spend 40 minutes there. I'm not speaking at all by experience or anything of the such. This is one of the very last drawings, and you can see like I kind of just got tired. I got so tired. This is the fear of masks. The girl in the room, surrounded by masks, and she is crouching because she hates that. This is one of the drawings that people hate, actually. This is trypophobia, which is a fear of tiny holes. I feel like a lot of people developed this fear when people started photoshopping holes in their body. This was like a while ago, but there was like a phase where people were like photoshopping like sponge holes on their body. And I feel like everyone started hating holes, tiny holes, because of that. Anyway, she's got holes in her tongue. And some people can't look at this drawing. I had a fun fact that someone bought a sticker of the trypophobia and put it on their phone because their boyfriend hated trypophobia and always like looks through her phone, and so she's like, I want to put this sticker on it so he doesn't go through my phone. I thought that was hilarious. This is the fear of needles. I have this fear. Actually, I hate needles. I have to go get my blood work done, and I think I've been putting it off for a couple months now because I hate needles. I'll tell my doctor. This is a fear of dogs. I really like this one. I think I had to look up a lot of effects, like makeup effects for wounds to like try to get this. This was one of the very first ones that I was like, very first like horror wound drawings that I was like, you know what? These actually, they don't look terrible. They look not realistic at all, of course, but they look passable. It's the fear of losing your phone. I feel like everyone has it in this day of age. I always have one eye on my phone and the other eye on the floor because I don't want to look anyone in the eye. But yeah, she's chained her phone to her hand, so she's never gonna lose it. And she's also pinned her eyes open so she never can stop looking at it. I like the rendering of this hand a lot. I feel like I spent way too long on that hand. This is the fear of math. Oh, no, not fear of math, fear of numbers, which I guess is the same thing. Don't know what these things are. They're like earmuffs. I don't know where that came from. And this one, last but not least, this is the fear of clowns. She's stuck in a clown bubble. Because the previous year, I remember I did a clown. I didn't want to do a clown again this year, but I did want to do something different. So I tried to do she's stuck in a clear balloon, but I don't know if I quite got that effect from this one. This is probably one of my least favorites, along with the school one, which I just did not have time. And, you know, the fear of death one was not, I liked the idea, but the execution was kind of meh. Regardless, this is 2019. This was the era of very loose sketches. Something I forgot to mention with my 2019, I have all my drawings still from each year. First of all, one, because 2 of them are in sketchbooks. Another one, because it's digital. But the only one I'm missing is when I was in 2019, when I was streaming, one of my viewers was like, I want to buy one of your drawings, one of the Inktober's. And I did sell it to him. I'm missing it because of that. I have 30 of them. I'm missing claustrophobia. I lost the original file of the scan, and it makes me so sad because it is one of the ones that I really liked. But anyway. Okay, we're going to transition into 2023. So I skip a couple of years actually. So I skipped 2020, 21, and 22. So I gave like 3 years of just no Inktober. I don't know what I was doing in October, but definitely not this. And I did the official prompt list. So this year I was trying to do the official prompt list again because, during this one, I didn't do the official prompt list and I felt kind of lonely doing it by myself. I really wanted to see what other people were drawing. So I did the official prompt list and I also showed it on social media through Reels. This year I did that too, but I think I got like halfway through. As you can see, like I was using this as like a cross out method. So I only got to like halfway of posting on, I'm not only drawing the drawing, but also posting it through a reel. And it got too much. So I stopped. This was the first one. It was for Inktober Dream. And it's just this girl that's dreaming about cutting her teddy bear open. It's so cute. I really love, this is like a style that I started doing that's prevalent already in my most previous work. It's kind of merging like the super sketchiness of my previous Inktober's with trying not to go overboard. So it's got like a line art kind of feel, but also kind of crayon-y. I love like the crayon ink drawings, I guess, because it just feels like I want to emulate traditional art still. And a lot of these drawings do look like they were done traditionally, at least a little bit. This is day 7, so these are not in order at all. Okay, well, day 2 was Spider. This one took me forever. I think I spent like almost all day on this, whereas 2019, I only spent like 5 or 6 hours per day because last year I was trying to take it a lot more serious. I actually have the speed paint, I think, on my channel, but like look at the rendering of this hand. It makes me so happy. It definitely does have an improvement from 2019. Like look at how different these hands are. Like you can already tell like I have better knuckles. I understand perspective a lot more. And of course between 19 and 23 is a couple of years. Of course I'm going to improve, but it's crazy how big of a jump you can see in this art. Okay, this was Path. A lot of these I tried to think out of the side of the box, and some of them I kind of wasn't too happy about. Like Path is like, I don't want to do a road. I don't want to do, like, everyone's going to do that. So instead I did a path of stitches in a heart, and it says love you. Oh, so cute. It's supposed to be a little bit gruesome. At this point I was like full horror. Like even in 2019, even though I did that horror stuff, not all my art was horror. Like I did other stuff. Yeah, Inktober was mainly horror, but I didn't do all of it as that. And now I like almost not strictly, but I pretty much only do horror art now because that's just like what I'm drawn to. This is day 4. This is Dodge. So she dodged this axe. I love her face. I think it's hilarious. You can see like this hair shading is kind of expanded. Before on my Inktober stuff, I would kind of just do the hair as a block of black, but this time I kind of tried to like, do the actual strands. But I just love her face. She's like, I also hit her hands. I'm like, no, I'm not going to draw hands this time. I did that on day 2 and I refused to do any more hands, which slowly did not mean anything because I did hands exactly the next day. This one was for the day 5 map. So I did want to do a map, but it's basically, I love this idea. It's 2 cut off amputated hands that are looking for their body. So it's like you are here, and then this is where your torso is, this is where your legs is. What a screwed up Dora the Explorer kind of horror like episode is this? Can you find my body? Day 6 was golden, and so I did like a little play on Midas, which is the king that everything he touches turns to gold. And I really like this part, like how the gold kind of switches into him, how like she's turning into gold. I really like this idea. And the way I shaded this, I didn't have as much time on this day to do as much drawing. So you could see like some of the shading, I wasn't doing as much. I kind of did do like very thick line work on a lot of it. But it's because I just didn't have as much time that day. And also like some of it's kind of bland. And he's just like so happy about the water turning into gold that he doesn't even realize that his daughter is turning into gold beside him. Day 8 was Toad. And you know, I love puns. Oh my god, boy do I love puns. So I drew a toad. It's a very mad toad. I had to look up so many toad drawings because toads are very difficult to draw, not gonna lie. Like trying to get these weird like pimple things on them. I don't know why, but they were not looking good at the time. Oh, day 9. Oh my god. I love this drawing, but it's one of my very few landscape drawings, and they just look so bad on Instagram. Like when I posted this, I was like, oh, it looks really bad. But look at this basketball. This basketball guy, bro. That's scary, bro. Imagine this guy who's dribbling human heads comes after you. I'd run. I'd run. And all of the basketballs or heads have different faces. They're they're so fun. I love them. Look at this one. He can't even keep his eyes open. And this one's just looking at him like, oh, why did I do this? I love bald heads. I don't know why. This one was fun. I really enjoyed drawing it. And also, look, the return of the hands. I feel like this Inktober, it was a lot of hands. And the shading was, even though I did a lot of like specifically black and white, I did utilize some gradient shading. Like I started with gray. Of course, I did the black, but I also drew white on top of it, which would have been very hard in traditional art. So that really let me get a lot of shading, and it still made it so that a lot of it was very, very messy. Still a lot of like messy pen work. But I don't necessarily hate that. I think it gives it a lot of personality. Like look at that. That's like shitty. That's like me going bleh, 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 barfing out art. Um, but it like works. I really like this style of messiness, and I think it really does give a lot more personality to. Oh my god! I just realized this hand is not correct. Look at that. That elbow is not like if your hand's forward, your elbow's gonna be behind, not to the side. Oh, I'm never gonna unsee that. Oh no. Why did you let me do that? Why'd you let me criticize that? Oh, did I just make a mark? I think I just made a mark. Yeah, I did. Okay. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Moving on. Don't look at the arm. Don't look at the arm. Okay, day 10 is fortune. The fortune of the day is to run. That's all there is to it. I actually really like the simpleness of this drawing. But there's not too much into that. I tried to do some cute ones. Like not all the time did I have 10 hours to draw, so I tried to do like some really simplified ones. This is one of them. This one was for day 11, Wander. And it's just this homeless ghost, and he's bringing around his bones, man. He's just he's got his bones around. He's wandering, man. He's just happy. He's like, look at that face. You're gonna deny that face? This is one of my favorite stickers. This is also another landscape one that I did. This is the next day. But this one was for Spicy. So it's just a guy. This little guy. Look, Return of the Bald Head. And he is, the noodles are his intestines. Casually eating some noodles. Also, he's got some really nice feet. Do you know how happy I was that I draw this feet? Feet is so hard, okay? feet are so difficult. So difficult. So the fact that I got these in like how they are, bro, I had to redraw them so many times. And like the hands are looking pretty decent. Pretty decent the hands are. And his anatomy, not too bad. He's got a giant egg behind him. I don't know who laid that egg, but by golly, is it large. I kind of got tired of drawing, I guess, because the bowl is like different than any of the other sketchiness. Like everything else is like controlled to a certain extent, and the bowl is just like, ah. Day 13, rise. Rise and shine. Wakey, wakey, as one could say. Zombie giving you the middle finger. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I love that. This is actually one of the drawings that I didn't get to finish. This one was, I think, castle. And I wanted to do like a cathedral head. And I honestly think that I spent too much time doing like details. Some of these, like, I didn't need to put this much detail on it. Like when you zoom out, you can't even see any of the fucking detail that I put. It's just not. You can't see it. Like now you can. Look at how much detail there is there. When you go out, you're not gonna, you lose it. However, have you seen these hands? Look at these. Look at these hands. Those are some nice ass hands. I know they're weird. They're weird hands, but I'm very proud of them. Also sleeves. Sleeves are so difficult. I know all the folds and I still have trouble. That and like noses. I don't know why. I try not to do anime noses, and that's why. I should just do anime noses. Oh, this is dagger. So I did a little kitty with a dagger. I probably didn't have a lot of time, but I like how like graphically designed this one is. It's so nice. It's just a cat with a knife. This is 16 and 17, so I actually did this one over 2 days because day 16 was angel, day 17 was demon, so I drew one day and the other day. It's supposed to be like the angel is kind of supposed to be the demon, but then the demon's kind of supposed to be an angel a little bit, but I don't know if that came off. I also kind of wanted to try to do feathers, but I think I failed at that. I'm not gonna lie. After seeing this, I think that this one is a failure. I wouldn't say failure. I think it's still a good drawing, but it's probably like if I were to redraw it now, I would make a lot of different choices. This one, though, is one of my favorites that came out of this. This one was for the word saddle. The prompt list was saddle. And as I was thinking about how could I interpret this word that isn't like a horse saddle. So I was thinking of different iterations and I was like, okay, well, what if you were like saddled with a lot of problems? I know that's like a bit of a stretch, but I think that I wanted to get into like some deeper topics with this one. Me personally, I feel like I am saddled with a lot of stuff that just bunches up in my head and gets into my head and then like I can't think of anything else. You get like between the relationships that you have, anxiety, all the problems that you have in life, like you feel like you're always saddled with something, some kind of problem. And so my mom calls this gumball head, by the way, even though I could see how she thinks it's a gumball. It's supposed to be, how I initially drew it is that this person has just so much in his head between all these balls of what he thinks: relationship, fear, loneliness, positivity, regret. Like all these balls make up, what he's thinking about, that it just weighs down on his mental. But what some people have told me is that it looks like it's on his back, and it's not his head. He's just like carrying it on his back, which also works. Like if you're saddled this on your back, that's totally fine. And that goes to show how people can interpret a prompt differently. Definitely one of my favorite drawings. I think anatomically, because I learned that word now, I think that it actually did pretty well. Like, I think that I was getting better at anatomy at this time. 19 was plump. This one was a quick drawing. I didn't have that much time, but I thought it was funny. It's just like a big baby, and he's being fed a little tiny girl. He's just a little guy. He's just hungry. And that was day 18. This was frost. And I like landscape scenes where like the main character is kind of like hidden. So it's kind of like ambiguous, You got this big frost monster that's stuck in the ice. I really liked doing this drawing. I got to just make a eyeball monster, and I love eyeballs. I have eyeballs in so many drawings. I don't know what about it, but eyeballs are fun. And that's Frost. Day 21's also is one of my favorites as well because it does feel, I feel emotionally attached to it. So when I was looking at what other people did for chains, it was a lot of, physical chains, things that are like clasps on people's hands. And I just didn't want to do that route, although I wouldn't have been opposed to it. But I thought chains could also be people weighing you down, people that don't let you grow. Like if you're being chained down by the people around you, I feel like sometimes that when I have friends that, I want to do something, they want to do something, and I'm always doing what they want to do, it does feel like you're being chained down and can't do what you want to do. I definitely have felt that before. So for this drawing, I don't want to look at hidden layers. Keep them hidden. They're hidden for a reason. She is basically being drowned by all the people that are weighing her down. Like that was the whole idea from it. And I really like it. I did not like drawing it because of how many hands I had to draw. Like look at these hands are crazy. But because they're so small, that's why I kind of didn't look at them too much. They are so tiny, and also there's so many of them that I didn't have as much time. I love her hair though. Like the way they came out. Very nice, very nice. And also, yeah, so fun water. Definitely one of my favorite pieces to come out of this as well. Day 22. Are we already on day 22? Oh my god. Day 22 was scratchy, and I did a weird guy who's got arms coming out of his mouth, and they're shaping him. That's all there is to that one. This one was celestial. For this prompt, going out of the box again, I thought, hey, what's celestial? Of course, your first thought is the stars, the sky, planets, anything that is out of this world. Well, we are just a speck of this universe, but our entire world is based on the sun. If the sun did not exist, we would not exist. In all seriousness, we owe it to the sun that for our existence. So do we ever feel grateful and show our appreciation to the sun? No, we do not. So that's what I did. The sun is the center of our universe. What is other people's center of their universe? And so I thought of a couple different things, trying to think of what they are. But of course, one of them was moss. Think light is the center of the universe. They're always going next to light bulbs. And so that's what I did for this. I did moth number 1, Fred. Moth number 2, Jean. Moth number 3. He looks like a David. I don't know why. I don't know why he looks like a David, but he looks like a David to me. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to basically interpret that prompt like that. I think there was a couple other, I might have done a fly. They were all kind of ironically insect inspired, but very fun one. Day 24. This is shallow. Someone did not bury their body too deep. It's so shallow. Yep, that was just the interpretation of that prompt. The mouth is definitely not correct, but for this day, you can tell I just did not have enough time. But I didn't have enough time. Day 25, dangerous. You know what's more dangerous than a radioactive icon? So that's what I did for this. I kind of did this fun-looking skull with some drippies. I love drippies. Day 26, one of my favorites as well, is a tooth fairy. I did this drawing originally on traditional art at one of my events. And then I liked it so much that when I saw that the word was remove, I was like, oh, that's perfect. We can remove teeth. I redrew him the way I wanted to because the traditional one, I didn't like it as much. I wanted to make some changes. I drew him in a mouth, and I love it. I think it's so fun. He's just stealing the teeth. He's got a little tooth wand. This is one of my favorite pieces as well. Yeah, just a little tooth fairy. Just a little guy. He's not going to give you money after he steals his teeth, that's for sure. Day 27 is beast. What's a beast? Oh, definitely a dragon. You know what's better than a dragon? A skeleton dragon. So I did a mound of skeletons with a skeleton dragon on top. I love this guy. He's so fun. I didn't love making it though, because the skulls, like at a certain point, I had to stop. I was like, I can't do any more skeletons. I can't. I will go out of my mind. However, I looked at so many reference pictures for this dragon, but he looks so good. I'm so proud of him. Like, he looks so anatomically correct. I did spend a lot of time on this. I think overall, this one came out like really good. It's definitely not one of my most popular pieces that I sell in person. I think it's because people opt out to get other ones rather than this one, because I think there's other ones that are people more emotionally connect to, if that makes sense. Like, you can't emotionally connect to a skeleton dragon because I don't know if you know this, but skeletons aren't real. This is day 28 Sparkle, and you know what sparkly is? A jewel. So I wanted to do a jewel, but I wanted to put something inside the jewel. So it's got like some weird liquid sloshing around with some skulls. I actually really like this drawing, and I don't know if I should have left it with like white background. I think like maybe I should have put a black background with white around it, and that would have made it better, because I think that's what it might be missing right now. It still to this day feels like it's missing something. Day 29 is massive, and you know what's massive is the shadow demon that I consistently draw every year. And so here it has made a reoccurring appearance. Very similar composition too, of it going up a wall and then curving around this girl. Day 30 is Rush. So someone kind of like rushed off a cliff and is falling. I kind of did a comic bookie of comic bookie is what I just said, of movement. I do want to eventually do a comic book. Okay, this one was fire. I really like this drawing. I think that I did spend a lot of time, but I love the fire. Like, it's not really like traditionally done. Obviously, it's digital, but it doesn't really look like fire, I would say, because it's just black and white. Her expression is fun. She's not like screaming in agony. She's kind of like in silent acceptance. And I think I've been trying to like get away from drawing each drawing like a horror movie of people screaming. That's not needed. Sometimes I can change it up. My first idea was she had a different expression, but I kind of like this one better. I think not that it's more relatable, but it's like more interesting. It's more thought provoking. And that was year 24 where I did digital instead of traditional. And then from then, that whole year, this is when I got the iPad. So I was just having so much fun digitally drawing all my work. I was like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. I should do this more often. And then the next year, this year, basically last month, I did back to traditional, because all of last year I did digital, so I kind of wanted to get back into the roots. Instead of using Micron, I decided ballpoint. I love Micron, but they're so expensive, and honestly, ballpoint pen, people are sleeping on ballpoint pen, you know? Sometimes I thought that having really expensive art materials I kind of got sucked into that, where like, I need to stop clicking this pen. I do it all the time. I'm so sorry. Do not click pen. Rose, no clicky pen. I got pulled into, okay, my art is not as good because the art materials are slacking. Like, I need to get really good art materials, and that will make me a better artist. But that's not true. And in my head, of course, I really didn't believe that, but it's not true. Like, I can get really beautiful drawings like this without spending tons of money on high Prismacolors, which is what I initially bought. Like, I literally bought these Prismacolors. It was from a yard sale, so it wasn't as much, but I got these Prismacolors because I was like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Like, I used to do Copics, and I'm gonna try Prismacolors this time. Well, I got home, I took my sketchbook out, and I said, ballpoint pen is good enough for me. And that is what I ended up doing. I just did ballpoint pen. This series is not an official prompt. This year they did a travel prompt. It was just all about like traveling. So I wasn't really happy about it. I was like, this is kind of like not in my ballpark. I asked my patrons basically, what would you guys think I should do a series on? And plants came up. That is a really good idea. So I did like horrible kind of hybrid plants or like, zombie kind of things that are based on plants. This one is Rafflesia arnoldi, which is a like kind of corpse flower. I tried to make every single one different. And this one was just a classic, little zombie vine guy with a flower as a face. This is literally what the plant looks like, so I was pretty faithful to that. So I did a couple sketches for it. Initially, I wanted to do, I of course went with this drawing, but I had like a mimic idea where like the flower was coming out of the stomach initially. I ended up using this kind of idea for a later one down the line, but this was like my page for Rafflesia. Dionia you know what? I'm not even gonna say the names. This is the name. Don't wear it out. And this is the Venus flytrap. I feel like a lot of people have done like weird Venus flytraps. I think like it being a carnivorous plant is pretty much why a lot of people do like creepy Venus flytraps. Although I liked just being spontaneous because it was in my new sketchbook, like I wanted the sketchbook to look really nice. I definitely wanted to like have the idea and like plot them out beforehand. So I did a couple different drawings and of course I ended up going with like this one down here. This is Liana, which is kind of like types of vine plants. These are things like grapes. It's technically not a specific plant, but it's kind of like a school of plants, I guess. I don't even know what to call them, but a lot of plants have like vine qualities like grapes. And so I really liked the idea of this girl kind of crawling around. I kind of just was like, oh, I knew I wanted a spider looking thing because of just the idea of Liana. And after a couple drawings, this is what I came up with, which is just this drawing right here. She doesn't have legs and she's got a nice booty. Hell yeah. This is hibiscus, which is just a flower. Return of the eyeballs. Eyeballs. I love eyeballs. It's kind of like a succubus a little bit coming out of its face again, but I really wanted to make them different. Like I wanted to go through each day with like a different idea. And I didn't want to make them too similar. So I had a couple ideas for this one, but I really liked the one where it was like bleeding and like you couldn't see the eyes. And then the middle of the flower, which hibiscus has this weird like flower center coming out. I don't know what they're called. I should know because I did so much research on all the plants that I should know like the parts of the plant by heart now. But basically it's got a stem with like their seeds from the middle, and I really wanted to do like the eyes coming from that because her eyes are hidden. So I thought it was really cool. She's a little like eye demon. This one is the black bat flower, which is the creepiest flower that I've ever seen. I turned it into a spider, even though I should have done a bat because it literally is called a black bat flower. When I looked at it, I was like, wow, this looks like a spider. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I love the weird web. I like the weird web. Weird web. Say that 10 times fast. This one I had so many drawings, like ideas for. First, I had an idea of it being a spider, but it being like more of like a skull face. But then I was like, it's not plant enough. Like I want it to feel like a plant too. And so I started doing like these weird humps with like mushroom looking things. They're like the bulbs of the flower. That's what I've been seeing on a lot of them. So I wanted to capture that and it just being really, really creepy. So I did a lot of drawings for it. And then of course I had to redraw on a whole page because I had too many ideas. I needed to calm down with them. This is Monotropa uniflora, which is a bundle of flowers that kind of look like mushrooms almost, but they're not mushrooms. They're kind of like ghosts in appearance. They are literally called ghost flowers. They're fun. I thought it would be really fun to have like a person stuck inside of them, like they were life-sized, and they're like little puppy plants. If this was where they are, they would be like going like yum and grab the person, which is how I initially had the idea. And then when I started drawing it, somehow they turned upright. I don't know how that happened. I wanted to make them feet first because if the plant was like this and it's going around and eating them like this, technically they would be going head first down into the body, so then they should be looking down. But I guess I like, as I was drawing them, I guess I got just over in over my head and just forgot. So I'm kind of sad about that. Initially, I had a couple ideas for it. So I had this weird, they come in bunches, as you can see, like I did a couple, like these are 5. So I knew I wanted to do multiple things together. So my first idea was this kind of hybrid, so it would be humanoid, but it would have this on top instead of it being like clearly a plant. This was the face instead. It was just like a giant mouth, and then they would be chained together with something, but I couldn't really like grasp like what that something was. And I was like, if I chain them, it's not plant, you know, it doesn't give plant. And then I thought vines, but I already did vines, and this plant doesn't have any vines together with them. So I decided to put the people inside. One idea of it being like a melting person, because they do kind of look like they melt a little bit. But after, you know, looking at it, I was like, I liked this idea the most. So that's what I went with. Plus, I actually used this later on because there's like a candle wax plant. This is the doll's eye plant. They look like little blueberries, but they're white with like black dots, so that's why they called doll's eyes. I love dolls. So these are a couple of the dolls that I did. I always wanted it to be like a broken porcelain doll with little berries coming out. I ended up going away from the girl idea and it doing more of like a baby face with them broken. Just why do the entire body? Why not just do the upper half? But I definitely like it the best. This one is the red spider lily plant. This is seen heavily inside of horror anime. So I definitely wanted to put this on my list. However, as I was drawing it, I had too many ideas. The idea where she was splitting apart, and then I had an idea that it was coming out from the back of her. What happened is I ended up putting this for a different one because I had so many ideas that I was like, okay, I can probably use this on a later date because I can only pick one. But the reason why I don't like this drawing as much is because I wish I had more room. Like, could you imagine if I was able to split this more? Like, initially, I wanted the heads to be more far apart so I could do these weird strings and have more room for them. And also, I had to like move these arms together a little bit. And because of that, the perspective on them is a little weird, which I'm not too much of a fan of. But as I was doing the print, like, because I scanned all of these in, I kind of fixed the arm a little bit so it didn't look as weird. Oh, this is the candle plant that I was talking about. So if we go back, this was the initial idea. It was like this weird wax guy. But as I was doing more drawings, I was like, you know what? I don't like that wax guy as much. I kind of want to do like a candlestick impression because this plant is the candlestick plant. So I wanted to do like a candelabra looking guy. So this is why he's in that position. It looks stiff. It looks weird, I know, but that's why it's supposed to like imitate him being like in a candelabra pose. Okay, this one is yellow celosia. I knew instantly it's got these coral kind of looking aspect, but it also looks like a brain. So I kind of took inspiration from mind flayers, did a weird brain guy. I didn't have too many ideas, and also I didn't have that much time that day, which is why like the hands are kind of not as shaded. And it's because I just didn't have enough time. This one was Nightshade. I believe it was Deadly Nightshade. Which, by the way, as I was doing my research for this, did you know that Nightshade and Deadly Nightshade are actually 2 different plants? Like, they're not the same. They're like from different, what are they called? Genuses? They're not from the same subtype of plant. Regardless, I had a couple ideas for this. I wanted to do a weird set of 3, so like 3 heads with this face in the middle. But I ended up really liking the growing out of a hand and it just crawling around. I thought it was so funny. This one is the skeleton flower. It is basically this plant is so cool. When it gets wet, it actually turns see-through. So I definitely wanted to do a skeleton because of course it's called a skeleton plant. How can I not? Instead of the girl. And then I had the plant just coming out of a full skeleton. But I was kind of, I not gonna lie guys, I was kind of sick of doing full body drawing. Like, I just wanted to do like a close up. And so that's why I just did this. Also, I love water, so I wanted to do some water girls. Also, I love her expression. Like, her eyes are so, like, they feel so intense. I deliberately did not do the highlights of the eyes, because I felt like it made her look not human. Like, humans always have, like, depending on where you're looking, you're always gonna have highlights in your eyes. And so, like, her lack of highlights made me think, like, she's clearly not human. Also, of course, her reflection is a spider. Is it? I was supposed to say a spider, but it's not a spider. A skeleton. And then we have the Dunst twins. As soon as I drew this, I was like, that's a banger. That's all I need to know. That's all I need. We're stepping away. I just thought they look like tiny butts. They look like tiny butts in a plant. And this expression is just like, they have no idea what's going on. Do you know the meme that's like, "Ah, a great plan. Let me execute the plan." If you know what I'm talking about, it gives me that energy.
All right, we just made ourselves a plan.
Look at this plan.
We're so good at planning.
We're marvelous at planning.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now all that is left is for us to do the plan. The doing, yes. Yes, the doing.
Next one. This is day 14. We're only halfway done. Can you do that? Monkey brush. And it looks like just a bunch of spikes coming out of the end of a flower. And because it's a monkey, I kind of wanted to do like a hybrid animal. So I did like a hybrid between a monkey and a dog. Because I didn't want to do just humanoids. I wanted to like branch out. So this one I love. I think the composition is just simple, but it's just fun because there's always something to look at. Like, nothing's going over each other, and it's just fun. I really like this piece. I think it came out really well. Okay, the next one is it's a fucking weird worm. Hydnora africana is actually a very popular plant that heavily inspired in a lot of horror stuff. I just liked the idea of having it two-headed. I thought that was fun. I don't know where it excretes from, but it's okay. I only draw them. I don't have to think about biology. This one is called Imperial Crown Plant, I believe. I had a tough time thinking of what I wanted to do this one. This plant is literally what it looks like. It's got like these bell flowers that like droop down, and it's got these leaves at the top, and I thought instantly that it looked like an umbrella. So I thought it would be really fun if it was just showering from the plant. And that this person was just confused. Why is it showering under my umbrella and not out here? Don't know why she's missing a head. I think that was just like, it's not horror enough, so let's just lose her head, is perhaps what I was thinking. But I also think like sometimes when you draw face, people tend to gravitate to that for the first thing that they're looking at is like a human face. And I didn't particularly think it was needed here. Like, I could have just done like a faceless kind of face. At that point, I'm just like, I just might as well just remove it. It's fine. But I really like this one. I think it's just a really funny idea. This one was, of course, Bird of Paradise plant. So of course I had to draw a bird because that's what was needed from me. I love this design. Just something about having it human feet is just so creepy. I love the shading that happened the branch. And this was day 17. Oh, we're almost there, guys. This is the weeping willow plant. Of course, if you're gonna do a weeping willow, you gotta do a women weeping. Them's the rules, okay? I don't know why I had a finger theme to this one. These are supposed to be fingers going down. I don't know if I achieved that specifically, but I don't think I hit it. I think I was running out of time too, so I was just like, at a certain point, I was like, if it looks like a finger, it is maybe a finger. All right, Heliconia. This is the lobster claw plant. This was one that I did in my previous video. This is the drawing that I did. I had like a really rough night event, and I came home and it was like 2 a.m. or something, and I finally started on the Inktober, and I think I finished at like 5 a.m. I was so tired. Oh my god, it was crazy. Regardless, this is what it ended up looking like. I really liked the idea of like the lobster claw cascading, if that makes sense. So it was like cascading down like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And so I had that in a couple areas. Of course, the faces where it had that like lobster claw idea, and also like the pyramid shape of like the top dog, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, cascading down with it like crawling and having no legs but just crawling on its hands. I thought that was really cool. I really like this. My only qualms with this is that I wish I started more up. I don't know why I didn't, but it's going off the page and I'm not too happy about that. I'll tell you that one. This one's allium. This one's ornamental onions. Nothing to do with onions, by the way. Someone angrily messaged me on, was it Instagram, saying, I'm sick of people getting onions and ornamental onions mixed up. They're nothing alike. And then proceeded to like tell me all about ornamental onions, which is fine. I love that you're passionate. I'm so happy that you're very passionate about ornamental onions. I did research for like 15 minutes for this drawing and I knew that they were not the same. However, they are called onions. And so thus I took aspects of onions as well as ornamental onions. They look like little poof balls. Very fun. But I thought it would be really fun if it was like crawling out of its skin. Like, I thought that would just be really funny. So these are the kind of drawings that I did while doing this. I had it kind of not going up like this, but it going to the sides so it would be more up going this way and it like looking down instead of where it kind of looks up right now. The only problem with that, I had so much white space in any of these that I had. There was so much white space that I was like, I don't really, this does not make for a good sketchbook idea. And that's why I kind of made him go up. It's no really like significance for it having its hand up, except for I really wanted to fill the page. This is called the bleeding heart plant. They're flowers and they literally look like hearts that have been broken, and it's got like a sprout at the bottom, so it looks like they're bleeding. But when I saw it, I thought, oh, you know what? A heart is too easy. I need to do something else. And so what I also thought they would look like is they looked like fly heads. So with their like big two sides were like the eyes, and then just the bulb coming down looked like the fly's snout thing. And so I thought, you know, I'm gonna test myself and do an insect because I'm not very good at insects. If I were to do it again, I think I would invert the center to have black background instead of like the white background and white ribs, because I think I'm like losing that detail right now. That makes sense. This one is the corpse flower. It kind of looks like a witch hat. This one I did a lot of drawings for. I kind of went around having, you know, this coming from the center, but it not being the actual plant, but it being something else like a hand. I played around with twins. This kind of looks like a witch hat. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of giving witch. So I decided to do that. It's surrounded by flies and I love them. If I were to go back and change one thing, it would be in my initial sketch, I have the hand going down over it, and it's kind of like it's kind of leaning over the broomstick, kind of like it looks like it's gripping on a little bit more. And I like the weight distribution more on my sketch than on my final. I think that I wish it was more over, but the reason why I did it like this is because if I put it too much over, it was going off the page. Like I wouldn't be able to fit it. So I did find that it came up with a lot of limitations in a lot of these drawings because of the sketchbook I chose. Like I wanted to choose a smaller sketchbook because then I could fill it much easier without having to strenuously work on this drawing for so long. Okay, my next one, this is the strangler fig. This is not a specific plant. It's kind of just like a family, just like Liana's was. And actually, this is one of the drawings that I had an idea for a while, and I was sitting on it because I knew that I wanted to do a lot of vines because it's the strangler fig, so of course I'm going to do vines. But I knew I really wanted to get a lot of detail in it, but some of the days that I was doing Inktober, I just didn't have enough time. As soon as I did this drawing, I was like, okay, this is the one. Like, this is definitely how I want it to look. I did a couple more drawings, like as tests, but this is definitely what I envisioned and how it came out. I'm just very happy with it. It encompasses what I wanted it to encompass. It took a long time for me to do like this vine looking sketch plant, but I think it's one of my favorites because I'm very proud of it. It doesn't look like it was, I mean, it does look like it was done in pen and ink, but I think I did get a lot of range for pen and ink. And that's what I like about pen and ink, specifically ballpoint, is like you can get a lot of range. Okay, this one is the swamp lily plant. I don't think I have a page for this because no, I don't. Because I actually did this drawing for the red spider lily. I had this idea for the red spider lily and I really liked it, but because I didn't pick it, I was like, okay, save it for a later date. And I just really like the idea of the spine growing out with the flowers. Like, I think it does feel very emotional to an extent. I think it really encompasses just a really nice sketch piece. Okay, this is the one that I got a lot of hate on. I say hate, but it was very mild. So this is the Hydnellum pecky fungus. A lot of people on YouTube and Instagram were like, "Excuse me? Plant, you say? It's a fungus. Fungi are not plants. They're different." You know what? That's fair. I didn't know. I thought plants encompassed everything that I could find in a forest, and you can find fungus in a forest, and that is untrue. I was given false news. So when I was doing this, it's the bleeding fungus, but it basically, like, when you touch it, it like sprouts this like liquid that's red in color, so it looks like it's bleeding. And I really liked that idea. I really liked the fungus. So this is my only drawing that technically is not a plant, but don't come for me. And I had a couple like really fun drawing like sketches from this. I definitely wanted to do like a gluttony kind of monster. It did kind of start looking like a cookie monster, not gonna lie. But you know what? I think it's fun. I really like the weird ass teeth. I think the teeth being different sizes, I think that it gave it personality, and like it's kind of like the mushroom shape, you know? I did really like this idea too. It's like this apple looking thing with the teeth growing out. I just didn't end up picking it. This is 26. So this one is called the Cape Sundew. It is, when I looked at it, I thought it looked like a tongue. It is a carnivorous plant. It lures in flies and stuff by having like dew on the end of their little prickly things. And when flies land on it, they can't get out, and it kind of just curls up around them, and that's how they eat. Really gave me the feeling of like frog-like. The fact that it kind of looks like a frog's tongue. It's like humanoid, but like not, because it's a froggy. I did do a lot of sketches for it. I kind of was like not bursting with ideas, but I didn't really like as much. I kind of want to just explore the options. I knew I wanted it to be coming out of something, but I just kept coming out with duds of what I wanted it to really look like. Because, you know, I did the frog the year before that. I didn't want to just do the same composition. Like if I did a toad that was just looking straight into the camera with just some sundews coming out of it, I just thought, you know, that's not very interesting. So this one is Mimosa pudica. This is also called the shame plant because when you touch it, it curls up into itself. It like actually moves. So I just thought of doing like a shy girl. It kind of does feel a little bit like anime-ish. I did all my drawings were to do with like her being like duck leg. Is that what it's called? Duck leg? Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. There's one where she had a sign that was like do not touch, but I ended up just choosing this one. I don't really like it too much. I think it's one of the weakest ones in the sketchbook, but I didn't have as much time that day. Although I do have these labeled as 28, 29, 30, I did end up having to take a break between a couple of the end ones because I was just so busy with other stuff. And so technically I didn't complete Inktober fully every single day. I think I ended on in November. But I wanted to do all the days, quote unquote. I wanted 31 of them because like that is a challenge, and it's fine because it's technically not a like it's not like a homework or graded or anything. I just wanted to complete the challenge for my own satisfaction. So this one is the giant lily pads. Whenever you see like the social media influencers or the people who are like sitting on the lily pads taking pictures, this is like the plant that they're doing it on. It's like super huge. So I knew I wanted to do, of course, the lily pad design, but oh my god, roots of lily pads underneath, they look crazy. So I definitely wanted to do that. It's got like the lily pad flower inside its heart, which I thought was a really fun idea. And the roots, just it being like kind of like a humanoid vine monster. Oh my god, I just do vines on everything. When in doubt, don't press X. just press the vines. This is 29. This is lamb's ear. So of course I wanted to do like a lamb or a sheep. And of course it's just a demon one. Yeah, this one is actually not really my favorite one at all. I've never drawn a sheep before, so I didn't really know how to draw it. I did a couple like different drawings on like what I wanted to look like, but I didn't really come up with it. I think at a certain time I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to do it. I don't have enough time. So I wish I had more time for that one. I think it would have been a lot better. This is my Snapdragon plant. After I drew him, it, her, whatever, it looks like they are like going like this, like they just got their nails done and they're talking on the phone at the same time. So I thought it was so funny. So I had so many different drawings and I really liked this one actually. This drawing I thought was really fun. I loved it. However, coming up to the same problem as a lot of them, I would have had to do it landscape instead of portrait. All the other ones were portrait. So I didn't want to like deviate from that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to need to do something that is way more upright. So that's why I did a lot more drawings of upright monsters. I really do like the amount of depth I got in this one as well. I think it looks really nice. I did go in afterwards with a white gel pen to kind of like try to break up a little bit of it because I think some of the parts I would have gotten lost without it. You know, it does give more clarity on what's happening, and I think that was a good idea. But when I was doing the white gel pen, I did it on a couple other ones that I forgot to mention. My gel pen, because this sketchbook is not pure white, it's like a yellowish, it didn't want to take to it. Like it kind of turned bluish. And then you could see the white gel because it's white and not like this yellowish cream tint. And that's the only thing I hated about it. So I actually have this cream paint, acrylic paint, that I was trying to paint on top of it. At a certain point, I had to stop myself because I was like, you know what? This is not working out. It's not looking good. It's not drying dark enough. I'll just like post edit it, which is the nice thing about scanning some digital traditional art in. This is the last one. This is day 31, and it's the pitcher plants. Pitcher plants are another carnivorous plant. It does look kind of like Venus flytraps, except they look like they're like jugs. And basically, when the fly or insect or whatever lands inside of it, it just gets stuck and it drowns. Initially, I had like this weird cauldron looking thing with legs going out. But I really like the idea of it being not legs, but just like weird pumps of vines all around it. And I really wanted to give it like human teeth because I thought it was creepy, even though technically it's not chewing or anything. But I just like that idea of it being like, oh, I'm just waiting for you to come to my mouth so I can eat you. Yum yum. But yeah, that is this year's Inktober. This is my Inktober journey. Thank you so much for coming with me in this journey. It's kind of crazy that I started doing like very simplified because I wasn't really, I didn't understand how to draw very much. And I was still in my anime era, but I still had some interesting concepts. And then jumping to a full prompt of my own of different phobias and kind of going all in with a new style basically of like super messiness to going to digital where it still had messiness but I had access to the Control Z. But with digital art, I found, especially if I'm trying to imitate pen and ink, I did lose kind of the traditional aspect of, hey, you have to live with your mistakes. And I kind of just went over and over and frankly put way too much detail in stuff that like you're never gonna see. Like that is beautiful work right here, but when you zoom out to the whole piece, like you're not going to see that little area. And I think that made it so that I lost the traditional sense of Inktober. This year, I went back to it. I got a new sketchbook. I went back and I did my own prompt again of different plants. And that was really fun. It was really liberating to be able to go back to traditional art and kind of just live with a lot of the mistakes that I was doing. But I think it just made it so charming. If you liked the video, then leave a like. If you liked the video, then subscribe because we do a lot of things over here and we have a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me, and you guys all have a great week.